Aujourd'hui, je vais parler de whether my adopted cat bro, Mr. Fluffy here, and I are starting to basically blend into the exact same life form. I know, you've heard that pets take on the characteristics of their owners, but today I shall try to outline how not only he's changing into me, but I am changing into him in some aspects as well. Hey. Hey, XenPuck here. Another day just lounging around taking naps with my cat. Well, my adopted cat. I feel like I should always make it clear where on the totem pole I am in the family hierarchy, alright? Mr. Fluffy here clearly prefers his mama to me, okay? And that's okay. He's known her a lot longer. And frankly, the way he shows his affection is by stalking her to the point where my wifey has to shout to me for help. I find that particularly endearing. Usually I just wait a bit and tell her that I wish Mr. Fluffy would stalk me instead. But alas, I am but a distant second in both their hearts. Womp womp. Anyway, so Mr. Fluffy is actually my very first furry pet. I mean, I think I had a turtle once when I was a little kid, but that was a long time ago and in a different country, not to mention it's really hard to pet a turtle. So that doesn't really count, right? So don't hate me, turtle lovers. I was much younger then, and maybe I'd do better as a turtle owner now. Okay. Anyway, cats better than turtles. That's what I'm trying to get at, okay? Plus, it works better for the thesis of this video, because I'm not sure who amongst humans can ever be more turtle-like. More cat-like, much easier. Okay, so today I'm just going to compare how or whether Mr. Fluffy and I are starting to imitate each other, since we've gotten to be buds. Oh, and I'm supposed to not wait until the end of the video to give that whole social media spiel. Sub, like, and comment, or whatever you want if you want to see more cat videos featuring this handsome little guy. Okay, number one, Mr. Fluffy changes since meeting me that may kind of parallel how I am now. So one thing, he now likes belly rubs. I mean, when I met Cat, my wife would actually tell me, oh, don't rub his belly even when he shows it to people because he'd get mad and scratch you. And I'm pretty sure it took me about a month in. I was already giving him the belly rubs, and he loves it. And a few months later after that, he'd even let Wifey do the same. Amazing, right? I mean, who doesn't like belly rubs? I know I do too. Second sub point, which is that he actually has completely changed his diet since I've known him. This one is a little bit of cheating because he had tummy issues last year. No, it wasn't COVID, but for him, I think it was just as painful. And as a result, we had to change his entire diet from dry to wet food. And boy, that was not easy and took like several months of trial and error, and also us, frankly, spoon feeding him. I mean, I think that's similar enough to how I have also, well, at least expanded my food options, much more so than before I met him. But that's really more due to meeting my wifey than Mr. Fluffy. But, you know, they do come as a package deal, so I think timeline lines up. Okay. And finally, you know, I mentioned that he started to nibble and stalk on my wifey's legs and calves. And apparently that's a recent development, okay? I don't know whether it's really me, but I tell my wifey it is because of me. And I think he learns this behavior because he sees me sometimes nibbling on my wife's arms. And maybe now he thinks that obviously she's totally okay with this, so why not give it a try? The difference is, you know, I don't use teeth and Mr. Fluffy does. So, and that's when my wifey has to call for help. I mean, I do feel bad for her because, you know, she's got bite marks on her legs. But I am also secretly kind of happy that I can go rescue my damsel. So isn't that kind of awful? I don't know. All right, point number two. My own changes since Mr. Fluffy that I'm giving him credit for, right? Subpoint one, I take almost as many naps as my lovely cat here now, okay? Maybe not exactly as many, but still like a much more than before. Sure, you can chalk that one off to me hitting early retirement so I have time to take naps. But the fact of the matter remains that, again, timing lines up, right? I retire, I meet wifey who has this super awesome cat, and now we're both enjoying our naps during the day. Like all the time, it is super sweet. We're both lazy and probably getting larger. Oh, look at your belly as a result. Sleep num num, yay. I am also much more likely to engage in parallel play. By that I mean just hanging out with Wifey and Mr. Fluffy, sometimes together, sometimes respectively, in the same room, but doing our own thing, right? But together. See, when I first met this cat, and because it's my first time hanging out with a cat for any extended amount of time, I would try to chase him and get it to love me. Of course, that doesn't work, right? And now I'm much more cognizant of the fact that cats, and cat-like people, like my wifey, sometimes they just want to hang out in the same vicinity, and while doing their own independent thing. So I've learned to back off a bit, and also just engage in being in the moment, but being in the moment together, but still separate. It's cool, I like it. I'm glad that I can still learn some new tricks in my advanced age. Also, I think since meeting this little fluffy dude, I've learned to move around in a more light-footed or maybe gingerly manner. Mostly because he's here and he's like a little silent ninja at nighttime especially, and I have to be on the constant lookout for him. Sometimes he just darts right in front of me, right? So when I'm walking. So in this way, he's helped me watch where I'm going much more, and somehow prevented my usual clumsy ways of simply ramming into table legs or coffee table corners. So yay, thank you, Mr. Fluffy. You've made me more cat-like in a positive way, and also prevented a bunch of injuries. Okay. And then finally, I'm going to list some key differences that I think will never actually change to prevent the great singularity of the cat-human mind meld. Okay. Mr. Fluffy, in general, is still way, way more of a picky eater than me, and probably even my wifey, right? I mean, we could literally not get him to eat a whole series of fancy cat food until he settled on fancy feasts specifically. We tried very hard to make him a bougie eater, but instead, he wanted to settle on the regular pleb type. It's okay, cheaper for us, okay? Well, at least I can say he likes salmon, just like me. But, you know, obviously, if you know me, I really, really enjoy trying all sorts of new foods, and I don't think either of us will actually change our tune on this front, right? Another sub-point, which is that Mr. Fluffy is actually not shy at all about meowing very loudly. I mean, especially during this renovation period, when we're only living in the back half of the house. I think maybe because he hears the workers doing stuff in an area he's known as his own territory months ago, he would meow at the door, separating the two areas very loudly, presumably to get our attention to let him go check on his domain. But I gotta say, both Wifey and I are comparatively very low-key introverts, so it's hard to imagine either of us raising our voice at all on any subject, much less to this level of incessant look at me, do what I want type of noise making. But then again, it's not like, you know, we can understand exactly what he's saying, so who knows, maybe we're just bad at listening, okay? And finally, on this sub-list would be how Mr. Fluffy isn't super open to strangers, or at least he isn't when we're not around. We know this because when we're traveling and we have a cat sitter come and hang with him, he's been consistently hissing at them. This makes us a bit sad because we don't want Mr. Fluffy to have a hard time when we're away. But you know, he's a cat, so I guess there's some part of that nature that's hard to change, right? I mean, I used to think all cats are scaredy cats around all types of strangers. To be frank, this guy is not that bad, okay? He's pretty much okay with strangers so long as we're also around. So I guess we make him feel safe. But someday I wish we could find a way to make him feel braver, even when we're not here. Would you like that too, little kitty cat? Little beautiful, beautiful boy? Oh man, I love writing and filming with Mr. Fluffy. You know how earlier I was like, sub, like, and comment so I would keep making these? That's a total lie. I'd keep making videos with this cat no matter what anyone else does, okay? Because making this, writing the script, it makes me happy and smile and makes me content, right? I can't believe I've never had a fluffy pet before. And when I did get one, I've got the fluffiest of them all. Thank you, Mr. Fluffy, for being in my life. Okay, cheers. À la prochaine.